Hi, this is Thought Experiment with Anna London, and here's a thought experiment exploring the scenario where drone attacks on American civilian targets become commonplace. So this thought experiment I'm titling Drone Dawn, right? Let's set up our scenario. So imagine a future where drone technology has proliferated globally to an extent where even non-state actors have access to highly sophisticated weaponized drones. These drones are not only capable of surveillance, but also carrying out precise strikes. And over time, domestic terrorist groups, foreign entities, or even rogue individuals within the U.S. begin using these drones to attack civilian targets on American soil. So in the initial phase, public awareness and shock, right? The first few attacks would catch the nation off guard. Civilian areas like shopping malls, schools, public parks, and government buildings are hit. The public is shocked, grief-stricken, and begins to demand immediate action from the government. Now let's talk about the government response in this scenario. So initially, there's a massive increase in security measures. Airspace restrictions are tightened, new laws are passed to regulate drone use, and there's an investment in counter-drone technology. However, the decentralized and covert nature of these attacks makes them hard to predict and prevent. So let's talk about the middle phase. Normalization of fear, okay? So as drone attacks become more frequent, citizens adapt their daily lives, public spaces, see significant changes. Outdoor events become rare. Schools install drone nets or use indoor facilities, and there's a resurgence in physical security measures like walls and gates around residential areas. Let's talk about the economic impact. So the economic, impact would be that the economy would suffer, as tourism drops, insurance rates for property would skyrocket, and certain industries like outdoor entertainment or public gatherings would essentially become economically unviable. The cost of living increases due to security measures because of these targeted drone attacks. And then let's talk about the psychological toll, because a constant state of alertness becomes the norm, leading to widespread, anxiety and PTSD among the populace. The psychological impact mirrors that of constant warfare, with citizens always looking up, wary of the sky. Technological arms race is also something I want to talk about, because the U.S. government and tech companies would accelerate the development of anti-drone tech, or at least we would hope they would, including laser systems, signal jamming, and AI-powered defense drones. And this would lead to a technological arms race between attackers and defenders. Now let's talk about the long-term consequences. It would be, changes in society, right? Society shifts towards a more insular way of life. There would be a decline in communal activities as people prefer secure, controlled environments. The trust in government and each other would diminish, with surveillance becoming more intrusive to ensure safety. And then let's talk about the political and legal ramifications. Laws would become stricter, possibly infringing on civil liberties in the name of security. And there might be debates over privacy, versus security, leading to a new constitutional interpretation or amendments, right, based upon this scenario. Let's talk about the global implications. So this scenario might inspire or be mirrored in other nations, right, leading to a global trend where drone warfare becomes part of everyday life. And international cooperation might increase for drone regulation or decrease due to suspicions and national security concerns. And then, of course, we need to talk about the cultural shift, because art, literature, and media, right, would reflect this new reality, and themes of surveillance, paranoia, and the loss of the open sky. There could be a cultural renaissance focusing on human connection and resilience in adversity. Now let's talk about resolution and adaptation. So with adaptation, society might adapt by integrating drones into everyday security protocols, much like how security cameras are now ubiquitous. So drones could be used for both defensive and offensive civilian purposes, creating a new normal where, drones are just another aspect of life. And then let's talk about a resolution. So a significant technological breakthrough might render drone attacks less effective, or a global agreement on drone use might as well, right? So, in light of all the drone sightings and UAV sightings and the like, I thought I would actually enter in the zone of discussion, concerning, a thought experiment. Again, this is hypothetical, it's edutainment at best, okay? But it's a thought experiment exploring the scenario where drone attacks on American civilian targets and our allies, could become commonplace. And again, this thought experiment I'm naming the Drone Dawn, okay? So something to ponder, okay, as we move forward with all these technological advancements, right, which includes drone technology and counter-drone technology. We already use it in war, right? Overseas, right? Between countries and factions and a variety of things. But what if, right? What if domestic terrorism also expanded to include, laser-focused targeted drone attacks on American civilians, right? Look what happened with United Healthcare CEO. That was a gun, right? That was a gun. That was a weapon. But what if they started using targeted drone attacks, right, with facial recognition software and the whole variety of things, which we already have. It's just a matter of who uses it and for what purpose, right? So anyways, with that said, this is a cautionary tale, and again, a fictitious scenario, but something that could actually become real world if we're not careful, right? So we definitely need to have a significant technological breakthrough, right, to render drone attacks less effective, right? Global agreements, and of course, what drone use should be, and more restrictive, air zones. Because this is ridiculous. We should not have just drones where we don't know where they come from. What is the purpose? There could be a nuclear, biological, or chemical attack, right, on American soil or on our allies, right? They could target with facial recognition, targeted precision on people that, our government could use it, against us as well, right? Against maybe folks, dissidents, right? If we end up going that route, right? Or, this is going to a whole nother zone, of concern and, domestic terrorism warfare, right? So this is not too far from reality, folks. It really isn't. And I'm not trying to play the fear game or fear mongering or whatever, but it is something to ponder, and something I think we all need to get ahead of, and our government needs to get ahead of, private industry needs to get ahead of, right? Before we end up with additional lockdowns and panic and in a world that we don't want to venture in, okay? And we're pretty close. We're actually teeter-tottering on the boundary of, the drone dawn, as I'm calling it, or the dawn of the drones, whatever you want to call it. But in this case, I just titled it, this thought experiment, Drone Dawn. So anyways, I hope this is providing value to you, and I should probably record a lot more. But I do find it fun. But when there's something that actually, comes to mind that I want to express in whether a fictitious format or a realistic format, in this case, even though this is fictitious, right now, this is teeter-tottering, honestly, on the boundary of a new dawn for us, right? Where drones could actually be used as a matter of domestic terror, right? Going beyond the car bombs and the guns and the knives and a variety of the other traditional stuff, the IEDs and all that. This could be the new element of domestic terrorism warfare that we could see, and who knows what may happen. The expanse of technology, again, it just depends on who. These are tools, folks, for a variety of things, and it all depends on the purpose and the agenda, right? Who's using it, whether they're using it for good or evil, right, essentially. right? So again, I'm not trying to fearmonger, but I am trying to provide a potential scenario, right? A thought experiment for everyone to kind of ponder and for all of us to kind of, hopefully get ahead of, right? And so, we can potentially render, again, drone attacks less effective. But there needs to be some steps and provisions put in place for that to occur, right? Otherwise, we're going to be in some big trouble. All right, so with that said, this is Thought Experiment with Anna London signing out.